So let's start with the least unnatural thing first, and slowly descend deeper into the most disturbing things ever discovered in the ocean depths. Number 4. Hydrothermal vents. At the bottom of the ocean, there are places that don't feel like Earth anymore. No sunlight reaches this depth. There are no plants, no familiar life, just total darkness and pressure so intense it could crush a human instantly. And yet, somehow, something is still alive down there. When scientists first sent deep-sea submersibles into these extreme environments, they expected to find almost nothing. But what they discovered was completely unexpected. Rising from the ocean floor were thick, black clouds, not drifting with the current, but pouring upward like smoke from a chimney. These structures are known as hydrothermal vents, more specifically, black smokers. They form in areas where the Earth's crust has cracked open. Seawater seeps deep into these fractures, where it is heated by nearby magma, becoming superheated before blasting back into the ocean at temperatures exceeding 400 degrees Celsius. That's far hotter than boiling water, but at these depths, the pressure is so extreme that the water doesn't boil, it stays liquid. When this superheated mineral-rich water meets the freezing ocean around it, the dissolved metals rapidly solidify. Iron, sulfur, and other elements burst outward, forming thick, dark plumes. That smoke isn't smoke at all. It's the Earth itself, leaking into the ocean. And this is where things become even more unsettling. By all logic, this environment should be completely lifeless. There's no sunlight to support plants. And without plants, there should be no food chain. But that's not what we see. Instead, entire ecosystems thrive around these vents. Giant tube worms, pale crabs, and other strange, almost alien creatures, all living in conditions that seem impossible. They don't rely on sunlight like life on the surface does. Instead, they use a process called chemosynthesis, deriving energy from chemicals released by the vents. Substances like hydrogen sulfide, a toxic gas that smells like rotten eggs, become their primary source of life. On the surface, life depends on the sun. But down here, life is built on what would normally be considered poison. Because of this, many scientists believe that life on Earth may have started in environments just like this, not in warm sunlight, but in total darkness, surrounded by heat, pressure, and toxic chemicals. Number 3. Deep-sea gigantism. If you think the deep ocean only creates strange environments, wait until you see what it does to the creatures living there. As you descend deeper into the ocean, something unusual begins to happen. Animals don't always get smaller to survive these extreme conditions. In many cases, they get bigger, much bigger. Scientists call this phenomenon deep-sea gigantism, and it's not limited to a single species. It appears across multiple, completely unrelated creatures, as if the deep ocean itself is rewriting the rules of life. Take the giant isopod, for example. It looks almost identical to a common pill bug, the kind you might find in your backyard. Same body shape, same segmented shell, same slow movement. But in the deep sea, this creature can grow up to half a meter long. It's familiar and completely wrong at the same time. Then there are deep-sea amphipods, small, shrimp-like animals that, in the deepest trenches, can grow to nearly 10 times the size of their shallow water relatives. Even squid and certain types of worms show similar patterns, stretching and expanding far beyond what we normally expect. So why does this happen? The truth is, there's no single, confirmed explanation, but scientists have several theories. One idea is that the extreme cold slows down metabolism, allowing these animals to live longer and continue growing for extended periods of time. Another theory suggests that oxygen may behave differently under immense pressure, potentially supporting larger body sizes. And then there's a more unsettling possibility. In the deep ocean, predators are far less common. With fewer threats and less competition, there may be nothing forcing these creatures to stay small. Over time, they simply keep growing. Whatever the cause, the result is the same. Creatures that should be small become enormous. Familiar forms begin to feel distorted, almost alien. And the deeper you go, the more extreme these transformations appear. Because the ocean doesn't just hide unknown species. It takes the ones we already understand and reshapes them into something we barely recognize. Which raises an uncomfortable question. If even the simplest creatures can grow to these sizes, what else is down there that we haven't seen yet? Number 2. Brine pools. During deep-sea exploration, scientists once encountered something that didn't make sense. It looked like a lake, a perfectly still surface, gentle ripples moving across it, even what appeared to be a shoreline. But this wasn't on land. This was nearly a kilometer beneath the ocean's surface. What they had discovered are now known as brine pools, one of the most hostile environments on Earth. These pools form when underground salt deposits dissolve into the surrounding water, creating a dense, highly concentrated brine. This liquid becomes so heavy that it sinks and settles into depressions along the seafloor. Over time, it creates something almost impossible, a body of water sitting inside another body of water. But the real danger isn't just the salt. These pools are filled with toxic chemicals like hydrogen sulfide and methane, substances that are lethal to most forms of life. To anything swimming nearby, it appears completely harmless, just another part of the ocean, and that's what makes it so dangerous. Fish that accidentally drift into a brine pool experience an immediate shock. Their bodies aren't built to handle such extreme salinity. Their muscles fail, their movement collapses, and they begin to sink. Crabs and other bottom-dwelling creatures often don't react at all until the chemicals begin affecting their nervous system. Over time, their bodies begin to collect. Along the edges of these pools, scientists have observed faint, pale outlines that resemble a shoreline. But it isn't sand or rock. It's a buildup of remains, creatures that came too close and never made it back out. In some recordings, fish can be seen hovering near the surface of these pools, hesitating, as if they can sense something is wrong. Some turn away in time, others don't. What makes this even more unsettling is that these pools aren't rare. They've been discovered in multiple regions around the world, including the Gulf of Mexico and the Red Sea. And despite being so toxic, life still exists here. Specialized microorganisms have adapted to survive within these extreme conditions, feeding on the very chemicals that make the environment deadly. Which means, even in a place that kills almost everything, something has still found a way to live. But for anything else, one wrong movement, and the ocean itself becomes a trap. Because at the bottom of the sea, it's not just the creatures you have to fear, it's the places where nothing should survive, but something still does. Number 1. Immortal jellyfish. At the bottom of the ocean, death isn't always the end. Somewhere in the depths, there is a creature that has found a way to escape it, not by fighting predators or dominating its environment, but by doing something far more unusual. It's called Turritopsis dohornii, often referred to as the immortal jellyfish. At first glance, it seems insignificant. A tiny, transparent organism drifting silently through the water. But what it can do challenges one of the most fundamental rules of life. For most living organisms, damage and aging are irreversible. Cells deteriorate, systems begin to fail, and eventually, the body shuts down. But this jellyfish follows a different path. When it is injured or reaches the end of its life cycle, it doesn't die. Instead, it begins to reverse itself. Its body collapses inward, losing its structure and complexity, shrinking down into a simpler form. Then, rather than continuing toward death, it resets, transforming back into an earlier stage of its life. From an adult, it returns to a juvenile state. And from there, it begins growing all over again. Scientists refer to this process as biological transdifferentiation, where one type of cell transforms directly into another, effectively reprogramming the organism's body. There is no final stage, no natural endpoint. As long as it isn't eaten or completely destroyed, this cycle can repeat indefinitely. In theory, this means it doesn't experience aging in the way most life does. It doesn't expire. It simply continues, drifting through the ocean, resetting itself again and again. And the most unsettling part isn't just that it exists, it's what it represents. Because somewhere in the depths of this planet, life has already found a way to step outside the normal rules, a place where death is no longer guaranteed. So, if you're still watching, I guess you really enjoyed this video. Make sure to subscribe, because I'll be coming back with more terrifying ocean mysteries like this. And before you go, leave a like and tell me in the comments what deep ocean topic I should cover next. Until then, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.